you guess the number one mistake that even the smartest nutritionists and health coaches make, and it keeps them stuck and not having enough paying clients? You probably think it's not working hard. It's being overwhelmed. Well, it is being overwhelmed, but it's being overwhelmed by all of the things that they're creating because they're building way too much for their business way too soon. So imagine this, okay? You have a half outlined podcast. You have 3 different lead magnets that you've kind of created, you've thought about. They're kind of like half done, okay? You have a half finished mini course because you took a course about how to make a mini course that then leads to your bigger offer. And you have a retreat that you know you want to do someday. You have this retreat, it's outlined. It's like, oh, I think I'm going to do this retreat. Basically, you look at your Google Drive and you have a ton of half built ideas, but you don't have enough paying clients. Do you maybe not have to imagine too hard to see that scenario because that actually is your life? If so, it's not that you're lazy. You are not flaky. You're not successful in your business because you aren't ambitious. Actually, you're probably one of the most ambitious and driven practitioners out there. And I love that. And I get it because this is me as well. But also that ambition might be costing you a lot of time and money and a lot of frustration. It's probably also keeping you from helping the amount of people that you want to help. So let's fix that. Before we get into the details of how we are going to fix this problem, I want to give you a free resource that is also going to be really helpful for eliminating overwhelm and helping you get clarity on what you actually need to be doing in your practice to help people and make money so that you can launch the podcast, launch the retreat, launch the mini course that goes to the course, the low ticket offer, the high ticket offer, all of the things that you're dreaming of right now that you have half finished in your business. We have a time and a place for that, but also it's probably not all happening today. So I want to invite you to take the Profitable Practice Philosophies course. That's a mouthful. The PPP course. It is a free course, and in the free course, you get immediate access to a secret private podcast feed as well that goes even deeper into exactly how to build a health and wellness business that is simple and scalable and feels like you and helps the people and makes all of the impact that you want it to make without overwhelming you and without a Google Drive folder of half-finished projects. So get the link in the description. If you're watching this on YouTube, it's all linked up in the description. If you're listening to the audio version of this on the podcast, I want you to go to theprofitablenutritionist.com/free to get started in the free course. So you can pause right now, go do that, and then I'll meet you back. All right, so let's talk about why we're even talking about this today. I'm Andrea Nordling, by the way. I am a business coach for holistic nutritionists and health coaches that want to build profitable, sustainable businesses that don't rely on social media and don't burn them out. So I talk to a lot of practitioners about what they are doing that is burning them out and what they're doing that isn't sustainable. This video is based on one of those recent conversations. So I'm going to tell you about a call I had with Molly. This is not her real name, but Molly had some problems, okay? And these are not problems that are exclusive to Molly. I hear this a lot. What Molly was doing was she was unintentionally making her business way harder than it needed to be, and that became kind of the crux of our conversation. Here's what you need to know about Molly. She is really smart. She is very experienced. She's a naturopath that has been in practice for over 10 years. She has built a thriving practice, which she then put on pause because she had some other things come up in her life, and right now she is restarting her practice. But she's trying to restart it with a fully digital model, and she's stuck. Now, the kicker of why she's stuck here is it's not because she's doing it wrong. It's because she is trying to skip the phase that actually makes her money right now and go straight to the passive, digital, everything online model that she really wants to get to in the future. But the way to do that is not the way she's approaching it. I know I'm being a little bit vague here. We're going to get into exactly what Molly is doing that's causing her a lot of headaches so that you don't make the same mistake as well. But I just want to say, if you are in a similar boat, if you have so many ideas, you have so much drive, you've taken the courses, you're like knee deep in making a course because you have a course about courses and you want to have a podcast and you want to have a membership and you want to have a low ticket offer and you want all of the lead magnets and you want to be running ads and you want to do all of the workshops and you want to do all of the things, this is really going to help you to figure out what order to actually attack those in, because Molly was attacking them all at once like a firing squad and she wasn't hitting anything. I'm not sure if that's the metaphor we really want to use here, but go with me. That's exactly what was happening. So here's what happened on the call with Molly. The aha moment with her is that she shared all of this with me. She said, okay, here's what I'm thinking about doing, and here's what I've been working on for the last 6 months. Because I asked her a lot of questions. I guess I should give some context about this. This was on a sales call where she wanted more information about our paid program, the Profitable Nutritionist Program. So she and I jumped on a short call together. I was asking her a bunch of questions about her business. This is what I do on those calls, by the way. And if you're thinking about joining TPN, we can do a quick call as well. And I asked her about the state of affairs. I want to know, what is your offer? What is your current client load? What is your ideal business model? How much money do you want to make? What are your goals? So I'm getting the State of the Union from her. She's reporting back on her history as a naturopath and how, like, what transitions have happened in her life and what she wants her business to look like and what she's been working on. So she reports all of these things that she's doing. She's like, I have a retreat I want to do, so I'm kind of working on that. I'm working on this mini course. I have 3 different lead magnets that are going to lead into my paid offer. And she also is relaunching a podcast, or she would like to be relaunching a podcast. She's like, I just bought a course about podcasting. And so she has so much going on. She doesn't have a ton of time to be working on her business, but she's very efficient in the time that she does have. I was very impressed, actually. I was like, holy cow, you're doing a lot. Like, you are tackling a lot of initiatives here. You're doing a lot in the small amount of time that you have. It is not that Molly isn't a hard worker, and it's not that most people I work with are not hard workers. It's that they are too hard of workers. So when I asked her in this conversation, I'm like, okay, I see what you got going on. How many clients do you have? She's like, 0. How much money have you made in the last year? 0. Okay. That is when the red flag goes up for me, by the way. She's building and building and building everything except the part that makes her money. So at this point in the conversation, I want to know from someone, what is your goal? Is it to build all of this stuff, or is it to make money fast? And there's not a right or wrong answer to that, by the way. So we're going to get to that in a second. But in this scenario, her answer was, no, I need to make money now. So that kind of directs the conversation from there. And for people like Molly, and for people like me, and probably like you if you're watching this video, being a high achiever in other areas of our lives really reinforces this do it all. Like, take on a lot, get it all done, work late, work hard, hustle. Maybe not even hustle, although that does come up for a lot of people sometimes, myself included. But it's like, we can do everything, right? And you have a lot of evidence for that in other areas of your life. It has served you really well. It has served me really well as well. But also, it burns us out, okay? And so for a lot of us, we get into health and wellness, and we want to have our own practice, and we want to have our own business because we want that freedom. We want more time freedom. We don't want to be burning out. We want something that's sustainable. We want to have other people have health in their life, all areas of their life, holistically. And it's not usually in alignment with burning the candle at both ends for us in our business. Though we think, okay, if I just do this for a while, if I can just get everything built right now, if I can just get it launched, then I'll live that life later where I do have more balance and I have more rest and it is more sustainable. But this is a lie, okay? This is a high achiever lie that we tell ourselves, because we never actually let there be a later. We never actually get to the point where we're like, okay, foot off the gas, great, I did it. Well, there's always more. And we move that goal line on ourselves. And believe me, like, kettle black, how do I know this? Because I do the exact same thing if left to my own devices, which is why I wanted to record this video today and get it out to you. There never is a day when you will feel, and when I will feel, and when we with the human brains will feel like, oh, okay, great, I've arrived. It's just as good as it's going to be. I can just coast now. No, because we have so much evidence for, if I just push a little bit further, it'll be even better. If I just go a little bit harder, I can get even more done. I can help more people. I can produce more. And we have a lot of evidence for that in our lives. Molly was no exception, okay? She has done all of the things. We talked about it on the call. And I could just so clearly see this is exactly what is happening with her. And again, that's why I wanted to create this for you. So when we're used to being good at most things, and when we're used to being successful at most things in our lives, or at least a lot of things in our lives, we assume that business is going to go the same way. I can push a little bit harder, I can do a little bit more, and if somebody else online has a successful digital course business that's passive, I can do that too. Like, I've had this thought. You might have had a similar thought, or like, insert whatever the thing is here. And the truth is that probably their overnight success was years in the making. And probably the passive business model is taking most of their time and bandwidth in their life, because that's what's actually happening in most online businesses and most businesses in general. What we see on the outside is not actually what's happening behind the scenes. So this is why I want to talk about it, all right? There is no wrong way to build your business, whether it is doing all of the things like the low ticket offer to the high ticket offer, with the lead magnets, with the funnels, with the retreats, and like throw in a little of this, throw in a little of that, launch a podcast while you're at it, because that's no big deal. That's not bad. It's not wrong. It's just probably going to be a lot slower way to make money in your business. There are much faster ways to get paid and to help people. And so I don't know that was necessarily going to be the point of this whole conversation, but it feels like something that really should be discussed here. When you are thinking about, what do I want my business to look like today, it doesn't have to be you creating what it's going to be 3 years from now. I teach this in my program. I'm like, what is the 3-year vision? And like, what is the 3-year goal? Then let's work backwards on what is version 2 year of that? What is version 1 year of that? What is the today version of that? And really get clear on what am I creating now that is a solid foundation to get to that, but I'm not trying to race to that 3-year goal because it is unsustainable. And this is what happens for most people. There's so many moving pieces, especially with digital marketing, especially with digital sales funnels, especially with things like long form podcast creation or long form content creation in any way. That is like its own learning curve. Can you do it? Sure. Of course you can. It's just going to probably take longer. So that may be a slower way to make money. And I guess the whole reason I'm saying that is because in a conversation with someone that I have in person, and I would implore you to have this conversation with yourself right now, ask the question, is my goal to make money fast right now? Is that my primary goal? Or is it to build out these digital systems and these longer runway strategies? And that's what I really want to do. And money isn't my chief concern right now. And be honest about that answer, because there is no wrong way to do it. I built my business making all of the courses and all the podcasts and the webinars and the long sales funnels and all of that. It took me 3 years to make $100K in my business when I could have done it the first year. That is very clear to me right now because that is the way that I was approaching it. And everything that I'm saying right now, I deeply understand because it was what I did. I just didn't know that there was a better way. I didn't have somebody saying, oh, well, if you just want to make money right now and validate these ideas that you have, we can do that in a much easier way and a much simpler way that isn't going to take so much time and it's not going to be so hard. And you can get paid right now to validate them. And then as you validate them, like what offers do people actually want? What are they responding to? What things do you think that they care about that they actually don't care about at all, that you're about to go build an entire lead magnet and sales funnel around, and then you launch it and find out that people don't even want that thing. Like they're not interested, they're not clicking, they're not signing up. Same thing with the courses. Same thing with a podcast topic or whatever it is. Enter anything in here, whatever that is for you, whatever half-finished projects you have. We can validate that people are interested in it, that they will pay for it long before you make it. And that's why I, again, really wanted to talk about this in particular, because I see people spend months, if not years, creating these assets that they have the best of intentions of launching. Molly was a great example of that. She is a hard worker. She had all of the ideas. She's like, I can do this. I can see this vision of my business where I launch the podcast and then it goes to these lead magnets and then it leads to this mini course, which leads to a higher ticket offer. And then I can also do retreats. And she could like see this 3-year vision. But the fact that she was trying to go to the 3-year vision first was the reason that none of it was completed, none of it was out there, and she hadn't validated any of it. So although she really knows how to help people and she is very passionate about doing that, she hasn't validated that any of these components of this like bigger digital empire that she's trying to put together are what people actually want, that they're going to pay for it, that they're going to pay for it with money or with their time, because time isn't free either. None of it has been validated. So rabbit hole, we come back. I just want to say this. There is a way to do it, to validate as you go and build a very sustainable ecosystem for your business that gets you paid right away, but also makes sure that you're on the right track and you're not wasting a ton of time. Okay, so that's my point there. Validate before you create. Sell it before you even created it. And then you're not going to waste time. You're not going to be Molly that has all of these half-finished ideas but are not getting paid at all. And her goal is to make money. Like, to be clear, that is her goal. She's like, I really need to get paid, like now. All right, well then this is the very long, slow, discouraging way, and I wouldn't recommend that. So with that in mind, my strong suggestion is for working with one-on-one clients first, okay? And some people come into my program, they're like, or they'll get on a sales call with me and they're like, do I have to work with one-on-ones? I really want to do a group program, or I really want to do an online course. Is your process going to work for that? And the answer is the process will absolutely work for that, because what we're creating is an offer that people actually want and validating it. What we're creating is messaging that actually brings in your ideal clients and testing it and making sure that it does. What we're doing is creating a sales process that actually addresses the objections of your ideal client and overcomes them, whether that's one-on-one or that's in a sales funnel. All of the philosophies that I teach and all of the processes I teach could be applied digitally in an automated way or in a one-to-one format. So it works in any regard. I just want to be so honest about the reality, which is the path of trying to go group, digital, passive. There's no such thing as passive. It has a longer timeline, a higher investment in time. And I guess I just want to be super clear on that. What I have seen in my own business, but what I've also seen with working with over 1,000 health and wellness clients at this time, is the investment in time in figuring out the marketing and figuring out the sales process and testing it and tweaking it, and it's not working, and then we got to test this and we got to look at this data, and that is a very, very intense time commitment. So people get into trying to create all of these components, and I don't want to have the mini course, and I want to have that, and I'm like laughing about it because I'm right there. I've done this. I have absolutely done this. But the reason we want to do it is because we think it's going to save time, and the reality is to get it up and running and get it going, it takes way more time. And I mean way more. I don't mean like slightly more time. I mean it takes double, triple the amount of time that on a weekly basis, monthly basis, and onward to put together marketing that is going to sell one to many, and tweak that and tweak a sales process that is going to bring people through a funnel and convert them. And it takes a bigger audience. So building the audience and everything that goes along with that is not something that happens overnight. So again, it's not wrong to want to build your business that way. It is just not the quick way to bring in some money and help some people and validate all of those concepts. No right or wrong way. I love me an online program. That's the online business model that I run, but eyes wide open, it takes a longer time to get there and to make money. So the fast track, from what I have seen with many, many, many of my clients, and what I wish somebody had told me back in the day, was work with premium one-on-one clients first, okay? Test marketing angles with those one-on-one clients in one-to-one conversations and in smaller formats. So you're testing the messaging, you're getting paid, you're like having real two-way feedback with your clients. Like you're having an actual conversation and you're saying things and you're paying attention to like what is their facial expression, what is their response to that. You can tell when someone's eyes glaze over and they're like, I have no idea what you're talking about, versus when they lean in. They're like, tell me more about that. That's really interesting. You can tell that when you're having actual conversations with humans online and in person. And then you get better at your messaging. You test those angles. You figure out what lands and what doesn't. When I say this word, they have no idea what I'm talking about. But when I say it this way, they totally ask questions and they engage. Oh, interesting. Okay, these are the words that I need to use everywhere, on my website, in my emails, in my mini course that I want to launch someday, in the podcast that I have finished on my Google Drive, like whatever that is, right? But you know how to do it because you've been testing it in real time. And the best news ever is that when you're working with people one-on-one, it's the highest price offer that you will probably ever sell. So you're going to be making some serious money. And in real time, you're figuring out, what is my process that I bring my clients through? How do I do this? How do I want to help them better? How can I make this simpler for them? And you're testing and you're validating and you're tweaking and you're iterating and you're making it better and better, so that when you want to have those passive assets in your business later on, you actually know what they need to include. You actually know how to sell them. You know the buzzwords, you know the things not to say, and it just helps so much. So for all of the reasons, I just wish that somebody had told me that, and that was a huge mistake in my business. I was just trying to scale. I was trying to go from 0 to 60 immediately, and it meant that I went 5 miles per hour for 3 years. Instead of getting to 60, which is so frustrating. But I think that I had to go through that, and I had to live that whole experience so that I could tell this to you, and so that I could say it all the time. Like, there is a different way that will have you bringing in money sooner. And again, I just have to circle back to it. Like, there is no right or wrong way. You can absolutely figure it out and plug through. And I have clients that do that, and I will help you do that in the TPN program as well. But I will strongly suggest that if your goal is to make money, that you don't do it that way, because it's just going to take you so much longer. And what I see is that people, they quit. When they don't see the results coming in, they don't see the money coming in, there's a tipping point at some point where they're just like, I can't do this anymore. And they talk themselves out of their business. And really, it's because the model that they were trying to create was never supposed to work with a tiny audience, or with not having validated the offer, or not having validated the marketing or the sales system. Okay. I'm not going to beat that dead horse again. We can move on. But here's what I will say to kind of land this plane. On the conversation with Molly, again, not her real name, what I would have coached her to do differently is to use the limited time that she had to talk to more people and to validate her offer. Okay, I would say take whatever it is that you wanted to do in the retreat and or in the mini course, and I want you to do that with 5 people right now, like live. Like, bring them through the process, have sales conversations with them, record the conversations, figure out what lands, what doesn't land, do some market research here, and validate it first. And then If she was still wanting to do the podcast and lead magnet, which I think are great, I have both, by the way, I would use content that is repurposed from those client conversations that she would be having with real clients. Not theoretical topics, not like, oh, I think that this is what I should be talking about. No. I would be mining the actual conversations on sales calls and on actual client calls for where people are getting confused, what questions they're asking, what objections they have. And those are the things that I would be talking about on a podcast. Those are the questions and like easy problems I would be solving with a lead magnet that gets somebody a quick win so that they want to move forward with you and take it to the next level. So basically, validate what people actually want before building the product. That's really the whole point of everything I'm saying right here is validate before you create, unless you want to waste a lot of time. Because if you don't, what you will do is you will either half create a bunch of stuff and you will have the Google Drive nightmare that I explained at the beginning. Also, how do I know that? Or you will you will bring something to fruition or maybe several things to fruition that don't sell the way you want them to. And then you're going to be very confused and you're going to be very defeated and you're going to go, nothing is working. Okay, fine. That course doesn't work. That didn't sell. I have to go do retreats now, or I have to go do this workshop now, or I have to go do this different thing. And reality is that probably things were working, but it just all didn't work because that is such an advanced skill set to have every part of the process, the marketing, the selling, the client delivery, the results, like all of that trucking along and working and having enough eyeballs to make it all gel is just such an advanced skill set that it probably won't work the first time. It probably won't work the second time. It might not even work the 10th time, but you can really stack the deck in your favor if you validate as you go. If you validate each piece of it as you go, instead of creating the whole thing and spending 6 months doing it and then having it flop and starting over, which is just so defeating. And I've done that and I've seen people do it and I don't want you to do that. Recap is this. Stop building and start earning if your goal is making money. Now, if your goal is just building, keep building. If making money, helping people right now is not your number one concern, and maybe it isn't, then do what you want to do for sure. But if it is making money sooner than later, if it is saving time, being efficient, not burning yourself out, then stop building and start earning. Okay, you can make this so much easier than it is right now. Get out of Canva and get into talking to real humans. Online and in person and telling them the words, I can help you, and then charging them for that help and actually go help them. By the way, that's exactly what I teach you how to do in the Profitable Nutritionist program. So that is linked up in the description of this video. If you're listening to this in the audio podcast, go to theprofitablenutritionist.com/join. We would love to help you do all of this inside the TPN program, where I bring you through, like I said before, a very specific process for isolating what your long-term goals are, what your short-term goals are, and bridging the gap between the two in a really sustainable way, because you don't have to figure out how to do all of this on your own. We have a tried and true process to help bring you through. And by the way, if this hit home for you, then you are going to love this next video. It is all about how my client Isabella shifted her offer to better match her stage of business. She did this exact thing. And in this video, you are going to hear exactly how that decision changed everything for her, how she made so much more money, helped so many more people, and is well on her way to creating those digital assets now. So go watch that next, and I will see you over there.